Where is your money going? If you don't have a money management system, then that's like lighting your money on fire because you don't know where it's going. You're not tracking it. But we're going to fix that today. I'm going to be talking about why you need to track your money, how you can track your money by using budgets. And I'm going to be talking about three specific ones in this episode and how you can choose the one that works for you to help you reach your financial goals, and also cover a few common questions. But first, let's get into what money management is. It's basically, to put it simply, it is just a system that you create to be able to track the way you are using your money. It also helps you plan how you want to use your money. And that could be, saving up for a down payment or just boosting your emergency fund, investing, or your spending habits. And when we talk about money management, a lot of it feels foreign to a lot of us. I know it did for me, especially being a first gen, because for the most part, I didn't learn it growing up. I got the basic budget of, hey, just make sure you have enough money to budget for your bills, your rent, and then have a little bit extra on the side to put into a savings account for a rainy day. And that's basically the most I got about budgeting. But now that I am older, I realize that it is a little bit more complicated than that. There's more things to account for. Like life just got way more complicated, especially as life happens, as you end up getting married, if that's the case for you, or having kids. And, just life gets more complicated. So there's more things that you have to account for. And all of it can get overwhelming. And that's what makes tracking your money even more important because there's way too many things that you have to think about now as an adult. Adulting is very difficult. It's not like when I was younger, I just paid a few bills. Now I got to think about everything, of not only for myself, like retirement and stuff, but also for my daughter. And not only that, knowing where your money is going, tracking your money is going to help you identify any money leaks that you may be having. It's going to help you figure out what kind of spending habits do you have that you can maybe do a little bit better, and you're going to be able to recognize patterns, and all of that is going to help you make better strategic financial decisions. And then that's going to help you achieve your financial goals, because at the end of the day, you want your money to work for you and not the other way around. So how do you manage your money? And there's a lot of different ways. You can go on Google right now and you search how to manage my money, and there's going to be so much information, so many different types of ways, from, separating your paycheck, like cashing it out and actually using separate envelopes for specific bills and, savings or whatever, and using the envelope system. To now, what I want to talk about is budgets. And so it can get a little bit complicated. And so I understand why budgeting feels overwhelming. And a lot of times it feels restrictive. Like nobody likes to be told, even if it's yourself. I know I don't like telling myself how I could spend my money, especially when it's telling myself that I can't buy something because I need to save it for something else. So when I created a budget the first time around, when I first started working and all that, like I didn't really stick to it because it felt restrictive. And I was like, again, with that mindset, like, all I just have to make sure is that I have enough to pay my bills. And I don't even think I had savings at that time. I worried about savings because I had a very stable job and my income was very predictable. So I just kind of sucked it up till the next paycheck if I overspent. And that can lead to you finally realizing that, you know what, I actually do need a budget. And so then it feels like a punishment. Like you feel like I was so bad with money, I overspent. I need to really get my stuff together and actually budget now. So That's why a lot of people have a negative view when it comes to budgeting. It's restrictive, and usually people do it out of a punishment for themselves. But I don't want you to see a budget as a punishment. It's a tool to help you really create a money plan, which we'll get into another episode, to help you accomplish your goals. Because if you don't know what's going on with your finances, then you're just, going at it blind. The other thing is that a lot of us have to deal with financial anxiety and some financial trauma, which leads to financial avoidance. And so that causes a lot of people to just like not look at their money. I know I dealt with that, and finally I had to just, be like, you know what? If I want to get to where I want to be, which is, financial freedom and build wealth, then I really need to be more strategic on how I am spending my money. And so that's the three types of budgets that I want to talk about, because these can help you with that. The first type of budget that I want to talk about is a quick, simple, it's one of the most common budgets. Again, when you go to Google, you're going to be bombarded with different types of budgets, but this is the number one that comes up because it's kind of the easiest. It's pretty simple. Now, this budget is based off percentages of your income. So it kind of only, well, not only, but it works better for those that are maybe like on a salary, or you just know exactly how, or very close to how much you get every month. So that way you could do the percentages, because it's broken down into 50, 30, and 20%. And so 50% is going to your needs. That is your mortgage payment, your electric bill, your groceries, things like that. And then 30% goes to your wants, and that it can be subscriptions, buying clothes, things like that, pets or anything like that. And then the last 20% is going to be your savings. And in here, savings includes like you're investing in your 401k, an emergency fund, things like that. If you're saving up for a down payment or whatever, or for a car or whatever it may be. But it also includes debt repayment. So all of that is included in this 20%. And the thing about this budget is very flexible. It's very simple. There's a lot of templates out there that you can use for this to help you. And it's very, again, useful for those that have a predictable income. The next one I want to talk about, this is the one where a lot of people feel the most restriction. They feel it's very restrictive because it is a zero-based budget. And that means that every single dollar is tracked and every single dollar is given a job. There is a reason for every single dollar, where it may be to pay your mortgage, to pay down a debt, to go to savings. There is nothing that does not get accounted for. These budgets, I feel, are more beneficial to someone that is maybe trying to figure out their spending habits, figure out why every time they get their paycheck, it's gone immediately. And you're trying to understand where that money is going. So a zero-based budget can help you figure that out, but also plan to help you keep on track and get that practice of mentally tracking your money every time you go. So with me, I did this for a little bit at the beginning, but again, because most of my expenses are kind of easy to account for, into like they're very predictable. Same thing with my income. It's very easy for me to just kind of mentally already kind of track it. And so zero-based budget is not ideal for myself. But I want to give you an example of how a zero-based budget would work. And let's say you get $3,000 a month, then you're going to account for every single dollar. So you're going to say, hey, $1,200 goes to my rent. I'm only going to spend $300 in groceries. I am going to make sure that $100 goes to savings. And I have a dog. Well, I don't really, but let's say you have a pet. Okay, then $50 per month for food. And then I'm going to make sure that I save $200 so I could save up for a down payment for a house. And you know what? I'm going to max out at $75 to go get my pan dulce y un cafecito because, that's important too. And so you can see how this type of budget can make you feel restricted and like a punishment. But I don't want you to get stuck in that mindset because it is a tool to figure out what's going on with how you're spending your money. And this is a great budget to identify your money leaks and be able to kind of like stop that leak. And the last budget is pay yourself first budget. Now, this is kind of a very kind of relaxed budget, in my opinion, because all it does is prioritize your savings. So, your emergency fund and your 401k. And then, secondly, your bills. And then everything else comes after that. So, this is kind of a kind of reverse type of budget, but it only works for like people that are kind of a little bit more stable in their finances. Like they've already, for the most part, have paid down their debt or whatever, because now they are in that season of that they are trying to increase their savings or whatever it may be, or their investments. And again, this kind of works for like fixed income and expenses because you can really plan out your savings and all that. So you could do it with, obviously, if you are paid by the hour, it's still doable, but as long as you can account for, how much you're going to get every month. So yeah, this is kind of the budget that I kind of use. I'm in that season where I'm just kind of focused on investing right now. So it's kind of like a loose version of the pay yourself first budget. So now the question is, which of these budgets will work for you? Again, back in episode 115, where I do the financial reset, I talk about your financial goals and the type of money season that you are in, because that's going to determine what type of budget you want to create for yourself and how you want to track and manage your money. Again, if you've been bleeding money, can't figure out why, your paycheck is just gone immediately as soon as it hits your bank account, then, again, a zero-based budget might work for you. And you really need to figure out where every dollar is going. But for myself, again, I have the pay myself first budget. I've automated basically everything. As soon as my income comes in, everything's taken out of where I wanted to go to. I send like $200 to my daughter's 529 and another 150 or 200 to like her investment account, and then, another 200 for my own other investment account, and so on and so on. So everything is already accounted for. And then that way, at the end, whatever's left over, I don't have to worry about me spending it because everything has been taken care of already. So it's a little bit more relaxed, but it still can get you in trouble if you are not disciplined enough. But you can also create your own budget, create whatever is going to help you meet your money goals. It doesn't have to go by percentage. You can do by amounts if that's more effective. Like, again, you could search up on Google and find all different types of budgets. There was one that I was using at one time, which was the 60/40 budget. And the 60 was like the mortgage and your bills and stuff like that. And then the 40 was broken down into savings, investing, personal growth, and stuff like that. I mean, you could realistically just assign whatever you want to each of those 10%, whether it's like saving up for travel or whatever. So I was using that for a while, but again, I kind of got a real handle on my finances that now it's kind of like automatic and I don't really have to do too much of a budget. Now I just kind of like analyze it here and there just to make sure I'm on track. But whatever it is, remember that pick one that's going to work for you, that you're actually going to follow. Now, a few common questions that I want to talk about is identifying what the difference is between a budget and money management, because you might get those kind of like mix and match, and they do go together, but a budget is the system that's within that money management. It's how you're going to manage your money. So, again, going back to the budget is a great way to do it. Another common question is, what if my income changes every month? Like, that can get difficult, especially again, if you are paid by the hour and you don't know if you're going to next week have enough hours or your schedule changes or whatever. And so it's not too easy to kind of plan. My advice for that is just to kind of do the bare minimum, right? Account for, of course, first your expenses. You want to make sure that you still have a roof over your head and that you can get to work or whatever, and that you have food on the table. So definitely create a budget that has that as the bare minimum. And then do everything else. So anything extra that came in that month is like, oh, okay, well, yay, I got extra money that I could put into savings. If it is debt, then like high interest debt, then maybe, go towards that more and stuff. So again, it really depends on your own financial situation. And the last thing that I want to talk about, common questions like, how can you make managing your money efficient? And how can you make sure that you stay on track? And I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, is that I automated a lot of my things. As soon as income hits my account, it is already automatically spread out to wherever it needs to go. So I'm not even tempted to spend it anywhere else. And so that's already taken care of. So creating that system for yourself really helps, but you do want to be careful, especially if your income fluctuates, then you want to be careful that you don't overdraft by accident. So that might not be a way for you. Maybe you just need to set a calendar reminder that, hey, take some time, your paycheck hit. Now I got to take some time and automatically, and not automatically, but do it myself and send the money out there, so that way it prevents accidentally overdrafting. But you also want to make sure that you are assessing at least weekly. Check what's going on. Do a review. It doesn't have to be a detailed review every week, because that definitely can get exhausting. And, like, we all work and busy lives and stuff. So you don't have time all the time. But there are apps out there, and even your banks have now apps inside where it automatically tracks your spending. You use your card and it already starts to have, like, for mine is a pie, and it already gives me the percentages and amount of my income on how much I'm spending on whatever category. So a lot of banks are already starting to do that. If not, there's apps out there that connect to your bank and then track it for you. So that way it's easy for you to, like, just glance it, see it visually really fast, and then you could make sure that you're on track. And if you're not on track, then you make adjustments. But overall, just make sure that you take some time monthly, quarterly, is preferably monthly, to do a more detailed review and make sure that what you set up for yourself is actually working. And then you can change it up. Maybe like in 6 months, you realize, like, hey, I paid off all my debt. Now I could do something different and focus on another type of thing. And so you adjust your budget. So again, the key to learn to manage your money, it's not here to make you feel bad about your financial decisions or make you feel restricted. It isn't a punishment that you overspent last month. It is just creating a system for yourselves to have a strong financial foundation. Because then once you have that strong foundation, then you could build up on that. You can then create a money plan on how to achieve your bigger goals, whether that's buying your first house, trying to, retire early, build financial freedom. And all of that, helps create your money plan, which is what we will get into in the next episode. So again, if you want that free monthly budget and yearly tracker, it has, things like net worth. It has a monthly budget every month. and debt, and a savings summary for you to track your savings and your debt and stuff. The link is in the description or in the show notes, depending whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast. But yeah, other than that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.